Ooh, welcome everybody to Wager Talk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. We got a great lineup for you guys. We got Andy Lang coming on right off the bat. He's got 2 NFL prop bets for us, or maybe not. 1 NFL, 1 UFC. But we're going to get more out of Andy, and I'll explain that in a second. Gianni The Greek joining us after Andy. He's got a couple of prop bets for a couple of UFC bets for us as well. Dan Lacheda writes in the chat room, Prez, don't mess up the intro. That was the first line in the entire chat room. I didn't get past 30 seconds before I completely messed it up. I failed you, Dan. My apologies. And after Gianni, we're going to have Dave Mason from BetOnline. A quick announcement, Teddy will not be joining us today. Had some bad news last night. He's okay, but he won't be joining us today. And trust me, he was worried. He called me at 11 this morning saying, are you okay hosting the show alone? And I'm like, come on, dude. Seriously. Andy Lang, am I okay hosting the show alone?
I would say you thrive. I don't want to say prefer, but you'll be okay. you'll be just fine doing this by yourself. How are you? How are you this week? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah, I'm doing good, dude. I know you just got back from Ireland. How was the Guinness? Were you hammered literally the entire time you were there?
It was close. I was in Portugal with my Irish friends. But yes, we did have a lot of Guinness. I got back on Monday and my luggage is still not here. So fun times.
Well, my daughter is in Madrid right now. And then before that, she was in Lisbon and Lagos. She was having an incredible time. And she said the food in Portugal and Spain are like unbelievable. Anyway, just a quick note. Thanks to everyone who wrote in the comment section yesterday that I predicted a tie game in last night's football game. Yes, I did. But I released the under to my clients as a 2% play, so I ain't patting myself on the back. I'm mad at myself. Was it like plus 2,000 or something, Andy? What is betting a tie in a game? So somewhere around there, right?
I've never done that. I honestly couldn't even tell you what the odds are. I've never even looked at that at that prop, but it's a great call. Great call.
Yeah, Javier Cash likes Barcelona. I've never been, but I want to go. I love Gaudi stuff. Andy, let's get straight into it, brother. Tecia Pennington minus 180 over Carla Esparza. Fade the baby theory. Nothing better than your craziness, so I hand the mic to you.
Well, Prez, we get a bonus here. Not only is this fade the baby theory, this is fade the retirement theory. We get 2 theories in one fighter. So let's start with Carla. Yeah. Buckle up. So let's start with Carla Esparza. We haven't seen her in 2 years. Last time we saw her, she got beat up pretty bad by Weili Zhang. Now, Zhang is an all-time great. So there's no shame in losing to her. But the way she got dominated in round 1 and then ended up getting finished in round 2, she had only one little moment where she got any offense going. It was quickly reversed, and then she got finished. So we haven't seen her in 2 years. Last year, she had her very first baby, and now she's coming back for one fight so she can retire. She has said that. This is not speculation.
Oh, she's done.
Yeah, they did this.
What the hell?
They did this UFC show embedded, and they're showing everyone working out, and they show her in a pumpkin patch picking pumpkins with her family. Like, she's moving on to the next stage of her life. Meanwhile, we get Tecia Pennington and Prez. A few months ago, I was on here talking about Tecia Pennington because she was a fade the baby theory against Tabitha Ricci. Tecia Pennington had her first baby and came back. Now, we cashed that bet, but it was super close. Tecia Pennington was way better than I thought she was going to be coming back. Her striking looked great. Her cardio was on point. Her clinch and her grappling was really good. I think Carla Esparza is walking into a little bit of a buzzsaw here with Tecia Pennington, especially because Tecia Pennington's wife is fighting later on in this card. So you got Tecia Pennington, who's knocked the rust off her big break. Yeah, we haven't seen Esparza in a long time. When last time we saw her, she really got nothing going. I think this is a Tecia Pennington by decision all day long in this fight.
Man, if Vince McMahon was in charge, I think Tecia and her wife would be fighting next. This sounds like a WWE storyline waiting to happen.
Well, if you haven't watched the Mr. McMahon series on Netflix, you would know that he's come up with crazier storylines than that.
Oh, how about the one where he impregnates his own daughter? She was hot though, dude. Like, let's be honest, Stephanie McMahon had her moments.
That was the wildest part of the documentary. I will accept no other submissions for what was the wildest part of that documentary. That him suggesting that storyline was the absolute craziest. It is a great documentary. That was really, really well done. So
10 out of 10. And I had just finished reading the book. So, I listen, I'm obsessed with that whole WWE, WWF stuff. And especially with my age, like 1984 was when it kind of blew up. And dude, I was doing bods. I don't know. Some of my Canadian friends will know what that means. I was doing bottle tokes with my friends while watching Saturday Night Wrestling. It was incredible. What a time. I want to go back. So, Andy, we're going with Tecia Pennington minus 180. This is the fade the baby and fade the retirement angle. We got a lot of NFL and college football coming your way. Guys, what I want to do with Gianni and Andy is I want you guys to pick games in the chat room. Bill and Star, David, Unknown, B-Daddy, all of you guys that I love so much. What NFL games do you want us to take apart? You tell us, and I'm going to ask Gianni and Andy, and I will give you mine, and we're going to run that for a little while. So let me know. Okay, brother. So you have a prop bet for us on Tutu Atwell, wide receiver for the LA Rams. I'm leaning on the over in this game as a whole. What are you doing here?
I'm with you on the over. I did a free breakdown video that's on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. That'll be coming out very soon. We got a ton of other videos here. I think there's points galore in this one. These two defenses are not very good. Both of them are, well, the Rams in particular, very banged up, we know. But without Puka Nacua and without Cooper Kupp, Tutu Atwell has been the guy that's got the most receiving yards for the Rams this season. In week 1, he had 0 targets and 0 catches. And then Puka is out, Cooper Kupp is out. He goes for 15 targets, 11 catches, and 223 yards in the next 3 games. And especially the last 2 weeks, he's gone for 93 yards and 82 yards. So he's eclipsed his 47.5 receiving yards, and we're going to take the over again. Packers are giving up 230 yards passing per game. So even if they just give up their average on this one, I think Tutu Atwell is going to be the number 1 target for the Rams again. I agree with the over. I liked the Packers team total over 25.5. In the 2 games that Jordan Love has started, Prez, they've scored 29 points in each of those. So if the Packers are going to be scoring 25 plus points, which I believe they will, this is not going to be a game where Kyron Williams is going to run the ball 30 times. I think Stafford's going to have to throw, and I think that Tutu Atwell is going to be the benefactor of that.
And Andy, a real quick clarification: where are we at with Cooper Kupp? I know that it's a maybe, it's a not. It's where are we at with him?
I have no idea. I can't tell you anything for concrete. The team's being pretty, they're being pretty quiet about it. We can't even get the Chiefs to tell us if Rashee Rice is torn his ACL or not. So I don't know why these teams are, being so hush-hush. I thought there were rules against this, but they're keeping it pretty close to the vest. And I'm following Cooper Kupp closely. I have him on one of my fantasy teams, so I'm pretty interested. But in the meantime, with Puka and Cooper Kupp out, I think Tutu Atwell is the guy to target for playing overs in this game.
Yeah, and we've seen Tutu put up some big numbers, have some big games. So I like that prop bet a lot. Andy Lang joining us. Guys, we've got a person in the chat room named Xavier Coach. And I haven't seen your name before, but I just want to point out that I have 2 daughters. If I had a son, I wanted to name my son Xavier. I wanted my son to just have a symbol, like he takes a girl upstairs at a party, and then the girl walks down afterwards, and her friends go, "What were you doing?" And the girl goes, "I don't know. This is the shit that goes on in my mind. Andy, what do you got to promote?
We've got our college football best bet that is up. We're 17-5 on these. Lifetime 4-1 this season. We only do one college football play per week. That's it, and it's worked out beautifully for us. We've also got our UFC 307 pack that is up. We got 3 plays in there for that, and we just released a special. You can get NHL for the rest of the season. For the entire season, but you can get all of the college football plays included with that. That's only $5.99. Prez, we were 80-46 in our NHL plays last year. By far my best year I've ever had in hockey. Yeah, 80-46. So
congratulations.
Thank you. I was very proud of the work we put in there. So you can get NHL and you can get the rest of the college football season for $5.99 if you're looking for action this weekend, though. UFC has been going really good for us. 19-9 short-term run. We've hit over 61% of our bets in MMA this year. So both MMA and college football have been really good, and I cannot be more excited to add NHL to the portfolio and for clients' bankrolls as well. So been a really nice source of income in the last few seasons.
Andy, stay with us. Don't you go anywhere. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, please take a second out of your day and hit that like button. It's the thumbs up button. Please hit it. It takes 1 second. So greatly appreciated. So much to unpack. Raymond Jones, he bet. I told everyone that last night's game would go to overtime. Raymond Jones bet it and won it. And he bet it twice. Way to go. Pretentious Prodigy congratulating me on that. And then we've got Five Hole, who had a cellmate by the name of Xavier who was in for murder. Well, that's a story. Okay, everybody, let's bring the great, the wonderful, the coolest old man around, Gianni The Greek, in. What's up, Gianni?
God bless America. What a country.
What?
Why, you don't hear me?
Are you blessing America again?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. The holy water's behind me. We're ready to go. Got nothing but a great weekend ahead.
Okay, so Gianni, here's how this is going down. We have no Teddy today, a late minute pullout. That sounded terrible.
You get in trouble doing that.
Yeah. So we're going to bring Andy back in, and I've asked the chat room to throw some NFL games at us. We're going to go down those first. All three of us will sort of give an opinion. You, where the money is going and what you're hearing, I'll give a bet out on that game, and Andy will give a prop bet out. So we're going to start right off the bat with the Jets and the Vikings. Now, I did this game yesterday on the daily presidential address, and I told everybody that I really like the Vikings here. My reasoning, and look, if you buy my package, I have a whole paragraph on this game. But my reasoning really is, I think the line is too short, and I think the line is what it is because of the Aaron Rodgers brand. I think if you take a look at the fact that the Vikings are 4-0, and they've beat some good teams along the way, and that this New York Jets team is not only 2-2, but lost a home game against Denver last week and really have not been able to put it together offensively. If the Aaron Rodgers brand was not involved in this game, I think it would be the Vikings -6.5. I think there's 3-4 points just on this branding alone. So I like Minnesota here. Gianni, what are you hearing? What do you think? And then a prop bet from you, Andy.
Real quickly, I think the best bet you can make on this game are the Jets teased up to 8.5.
Yep.
Long teasers are now 12-6 this season after going 5-2 last week. Those are money. You know your mathematical edge going in as long as you know what the vig is that you have to lay. So it doesn't get any better than that, especially with a low total of 40. The lower the total, the more the points are worth. So if you're ever going to tease a game, this is one of those you're going to tease. Knowing win or lose, you're placing a great bet. With that said, here's what scares me about the Minnesota side. Why hasn't this gotten to 3? We should be looking at an adjustment of 3, but it appears to me that every time it moves to 3, it tends to come back the other way.
Right.
That to me is scary, that there's some resistance, especially a team that's been as hot as the Minnesota Vikings. That's what worries me here. But as far as the like you said, the Rodgers, you're usually not going to get him at any kind of discount. But the fear is the few people got down early on Minnesota And since then, any threes are being grabbed by the betting syndicates. So it looks like that's the number that they want the Jets on. And Minnesota, anyone that got down early, placed a hell of a bet because of the look ahead, I think they were the underdog.
Yeah. Yeah, well said on that teaser. And let's find a second leg for that as the show progresses. Andy Lang, any prop bets for us on the game in the Tottenham Spurs stadium?
Yeah, I'd be looking at fading Sam Darnold here a little bit on some of his passing props. The Jets, pretty susceptible to giving up yards on the ground. But that secondary is still just lights out. They've only given up 2 passing touchdowns this entire year. They're not giving up hardly any yards, 5.6 yards per attempt on that defense. So Sam Darnold's passing total is 217. Despite the Minnesota Vikings' big start, he's actually gone under this total in 2 games. He went under against Houston. He went under against the Giants. If this is a close game, I would look for Minnesota to be tacking on the ground. So you can take under 1.5 touchdowns. I would worry a little bit about that because he's gone over in every single game this year, but I might look at that under 217 passing total for Darnold.
Interesting. Yeah, and also I think, if we look at these fields in London, they do tend to lean to the under. The grass is either really long or the field is quite muddy, and plus it's miserable London, so everything should go under. Now we've got another game, B-Daddy, Dallas and Pittsburgh, and I find this game, Gianni, fascinating. This is one of those games where whoever dictates the pace and style of this game wins. If this is a low-scoring game, I can see Pittsburgh getting it done. If this is a high-scoring game, Dallas is going to blow them out. Without Micah Parsons in, it's a big deal. With that said, he's a pass rusher, and Pittsburgh doesn't know how to spell the word pass. So I don't know how big a deal it is, and it might actually help Dallas shore up the run defense a little bit better. My lean here is on Dallas. I just feel like this Pittsburgh team is shit. I know they have a good defense, but not as great as people think. They gave up 6 throws last week of over 15 yards to Indianapolis, and they were beat deep a few times. Once you beat a team deep once or twice at the beginning of the game, their linebackers tend to pull back slightly, opening up the slot and the running game for the offensive team. I lean on Dallas here. Gianni?
Yeah, I got down on the over for one of the groups that I work with. They bet over 43 and over 43.5. It got up to 44.5, and now it's sitting about 44. So obviously, the higher it goes, you're going to see some resistance. As far as the side goes, it's another situation where you can hit a Wong teaser. You got Dallas at 2.5. But what I always urge my guys, and I talk about in the steam room, you want to bet your teasers as late as possible, as close to kickoff as possible, because unlike trying to get ahead of the market, you don't want to do that with teasers. You want the market to be as efficient as possible because you're trying to get the game to land near the point spread. For that to happen, you need the line to be as sharp as possible. So you're not trying to get ahead of anything. You're simply taking advantage of a sharp line that you could bet through the numbers 3, 6, and 7. So if this is still at 2.5 and not 3, I think that's what you do. You look to tease the Dallas Cowboys. And like I said, we like the game over. And you said that correlates with Dallas. High scoring game, Dallas should get the cover according to your X's and O's. So I like how that lines up.
There we go. Gianni the Greek. Fun show. Really enjoying it. Andy Lang, prop bet for us on Zeke Elliott doing nothing ever again for the rest of his life.
It's funny you bring that up. I actually kind of like Rico Dowdle over 10.5 carries.
Yeah.
This is just Zeke is you said it. Zeke's not getting anything done. Rico Dowdle finally gets 11 carries last week. So you're seeing more and more leaning towards Rico Dowdle taking over this role. I don't want to take his over yards, 39.5. This is a Pittsburgh defense that's second best in yards per carry. I'll give out the top 5 here. So Ravens, Steelers, Vikings, Chiefs, and Chargers. Those are your top 5 in yards per carry on rush defense. So I think they're going to need to try and run the ball. We've got no Brandon Cooks now, so now it's really limited Dallas in the passing game. They're going to have to try and get something going on the ground to keep some pressure off of Dak. And don't forget this Dallas defense is completely banged up So Dallas is going to have to try and control the time of possession because I just don't think they're going to be able to get pressure on the Pittsburgh offense. So look for Dowdle to at least get a lot of attempts. I'm not sure if the yards are going to be there.
Yep.
Give me the attempts over 10.5.
I love that prop bet. It makes a lot of sense. We're going to do a couple of more games, guys, and then we're going to talk with Gianni about some UFC and also get his rundown on college football. The Saints and the Chiefs, Gianni. Man, I don't think I could get to the window on the Chiefs minus 5.5 here. Rashid Rice out now. This team is reeling from an offensive injury perspective. They just don't have the guns at wide receiver. And I think New Orleans is smart enough to really hone in on Kelsey, take him out of the game. With that said, we know Andy's going to come on here and tell us to take Kelsey over in targets because who else are they going to throw to? I got to lean on New Orleans here. If KC wins, and look, they win almost every game, they tend to win closer than most people think. There's also, like what we're talking about with Aaron Rodgers, there's a brand equity in Kansas City that skews the lines as well. Gianni, I like New Orleans. Where are you going?
Yeah, we got a difference of opinion here. I like Kansas City only because I think they're getting it done with defense this year. And returning now home after back-to-back road games where they got the job done, covered the spread, you would expect them to be a little bit overvalued in the betting market. But fortunately for them, they're playing a New Orleans Saints team, which I think played above their potential early on in the season, meaning those first two games, they got lucky having a team like Carolina where they beat them by 37. Let's not forget, they were only 3-point favorites against Carolina at home. So that was saying as if New Orleans and Carolina were equal on a neutral field, maybe New Orleans 1 point better. And now here we are going up against Kansas City and you're only getting 5.5. So the market really adjusted quickly on the Saints. And I don't know if that's warranted. I see when they step up in class, they don't seem as impressive, except you saw that game in Dallas, but we still got to see what Dallas has left. There's a lot of turnovers. So to keep it short, I like Kansas City because I do think even though the injuries on the offensive side of the ball, they've been getting it done with defense. And there's not that hype around Kansas City, and they're sitting at 4-0. Power rating wise, I got them at the top. So I'm afraid to fade this team, especially at home.
And I get it. I don't want to fade them either. I can't make an argument for them, but I can't fade them. So ultimately, I will not be going to the window on that game. Andy, what do you got for us?
I'm not going with Travis Kelce, actually. I'm going with kind of a little under the radar, Justin Watson. I don't feel like they've adjusted his line enough. His receiving total is 24.5. This is a guy that's been in the mid-20s, even with Rashee Rice in there. So last week against the Chargers, he does get over 27 yards, but before that, he had 13, 22, and 25. I agree with you that taking away Kelce is probably the most obvious move. So where do you go besides that? I mean, the cupboard's pretty bare there, so I like Justin Watson here. I will also bring this up. I can't put these in as official plays because they're live lines, but Kansas City Chiefs second half unders. Prez last year, if you were to play every single Kansas City Chiefs game, played in 19 of them, 17 of them went under in the second half. They've gone under the last couple weeks. It's an incredible trend. So when you're watching the Kansas City Chiefs game, that Steve Spagnuolo defense does great on third downs. You got a limited Kansas City Chiefs offense. It just screams second half unders. So don't forget a halftime.
I'd like to add to that, Andy. It's not only Steve Spagnuolo's defense that is causing those games to go under. Take a look at the drive charts of Kansas City in the first half and second half of games. They usually come out, they slow the game down, they run it down your throat. So they actually hold the ball longer in the second half than they do the first. Houston and Buffalo. If you guys like this format, let us know. I'm enjoying myself and listening to two incredible sports bettors in Gianni and Andy giving us their thoughts. I'm a fan. I'm sitting here as a fan. So Buffalo, Houston, I like this game to go over the total, Gianni. You look at Houston, and interestingly enough, this is a team that's really struggled to put up a lot of points this year. I think they're averaging somewhere around 20 points per game. They are the fourth highest team in passing yards on the season. So they are moving the ball up and down the field. Their biggest problem, period, is penalties on first downs. It's setting up first and 20s. It's causing them to go one-dimensional. It's causing them to throw the ball more than run the ball. And it is affecting their ability to close in the red zone. With that said, I think those things are fixable. I'm a huge DeMarco fan. I think this game goes over. What do you think, Gianni?
I can't disagree with the total. I really like the side in this game. The only thing I wish was that Buffalo, even though I had Baltimore last Sunday night, I wish Buffalo played a closer game or even won that game. I think value with Houston, we probably would have been getting them even close to a field goal, which I think would have been stealing, because I think Houston's one of the most undervalued teams in the betting market. And I don't think even the betting syndicates have adjusted them quickly enough, meaning they haven't moved them up the power rankings. And I think that's why they haven't really gotten steamed yet in this game. Getting them around and pick them, I think, is a steal against this Buffalo team. They haven't covered a single game, Houston, which they're underperforming against the betting market. And usually you're going to get that correction. Teams regress and progress towards the mean. And I do expect Houston to be one of those teams that start to cover these numbers because they're getting fairer. And this is a perfect example of that, because Houston should be favored in this game. And again, they opened as the dog, but in the sharper shops, you see they're a 1-point favorite. Doesn't mean much, but I do like Houston undefeated here at home. I think they stay there.
Andy Lang?
Let's take a look at Cam Akers. It looks like Joe Mixon is out, so they're back to
Please
Cam
say
Akers.
the under.
Oh no, we're going over. This is the world.
Oh, Andy. Oh, Cam Akers.
Oh, Prez. Buffalo gives up 5.7 yards per carry. Dead last in the NFL. Absolutely terrible rush defense. He went over this total last week against Jacksonville. And sometimes it's just the sheer volume. He's just going to fall into 15 to 20 carries because he's the only guy there. So, you're never in a great spot if you're depending on Cam Akers to make your betting day. But when you're going up against a team that gives up 5.7 yards per carry, you got to take a look at that. And also maybe a little sprinkle on Stephon Diggs to score a touchdown as a little revenge spot against his former team. I got to believe if they get in close, they might want to give Stephon Diggs a little bit of love against Buffalo. So, but I will also say CJ Stroud to throw a touchdown. It's pretty juiced, but it's a great parlay piece. This guy just throws a touchdown like pretty much every game, especially now that Mixon is out. You're depending on Cam Akers around the goal line. No thanks. So if you're looking for good parlay pieces, CJ Stroud to throw a touchdown's one.
There we go. Andy Lang, everyone. Thanks for joining us, brother. Awesome work with no notice. Gianni, my takeaway when listening to you is the Jets and Dallas as a Wong teaser. Are you feeling that?
Absolutely. Dude, I told my subscribers, I can't send you 21 teasers to bet, but I can tell you I'm betting every single one of these. That's what I share at this theme room, because I'm confident when the dust settles and the season's over, we will have made a profit. I mean, that you have a nice edge with those. There'll be a decent sample size. And like I said, it's already 12-6, so already ahead playing with house money right now.
Gianni The Greek joining us. Okay, guys, we still have Dave Mason from BetOnline coming up. He's an incredible listen to, so stay with us. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Gianni, let's talk UFC, and then we'll race through your college football bets. I'm going to just hand the mic over to you, bro.
Thank you. And I got to give UFC plays just because I've been crushing MMA. And this isn't a promotion, but I'm up like 150 units, man. It's been historic what I've done on those TV shows. I've gotten even lucky. I've hit 16 straight weeks, given like 2 plays a week. And now I'm going for my 16th or 17th straight week. So I've been on fire, and I gave a loser on the show last week. So I'm going to give 2 UFC bets because I already had 8 through subscribers. Let me start off with Iasmin Lucindo. I laid minus 160. If you watch UFC on the line, you would have got her at 160. I gave her out at 165, and she's now up to about minus 200, 205. This girl should be about a 3-1 favorite in this spot. Maria Rodriguez was a stud, but she's now 37 years old, has lost 3 of her last 4 fights, and the opposite trajectories, where Lucinda's 22 years old, has won 3 straight after losing her debut. That's why she's been a little bit undervalued here, but 15 years younger, 1 on the way in, 1 on the way out. lay the chalk here. And finally, we're going to fade Jose Aldo and cash the ticket. Bautista should be favored. In fact, he should be a bigger favorite. If not for the Aldo name, he would be a bunch bigger favored based on the data. You got a kid that's 7 years younger. You got a stance advantage, switch versus orthodox. And when you zoom out, Aldo's been hot of late, winning 4 or 5, only lost to Marab. But zoom out a little more, and he's 6-6 over his last 12. So he's had some decent fights of late, but you are paying for that in recency bias. The reason Bautista's strength of schedule is weaker than you would expect, it's because nobody wanted to fight this kid. He's won 6 or 7 straight fights, and nobody would want to fight him. Now that he's going to be in a top 10 guy, they have to fight him. Watch why they avoided him. Take Bautista. You can wait till Saturday because Aldo money will keep coming in. So Iasmin Lucindo goes right through Marina Rodriguez, and Mario Bautista gives Aldo the loss. Those are 2 UFC winners. I got a 5% in there already. I got 8 plays. And probably going to get some more. There's even 2 juicy dogs I fired already. It's 3% or so. Loving MMA this year. Fights and positions is jumping off the board at me. So we're going to ride it and do damage the rest of the year.
Dude, that picture of Jose Aldo, I mean, what's he, 80 years old?
Yeah.
Gianni, race through your college football slate, and then we'll call it a section, a show, whatever. We got Dave Mason still waiting to come on.
Yes, sir. If you watch, what do we do? From the Wednesday show, I do so many little segments, I forget even what the names are. If you watch the Wednesday, I did the college football and I gave NFL. So instead of giving any of that same college football, I'm going to give you just one of the groups that hit me up with these yesterday or the day before. But here you go. These haven't been released yet. 306 UTEP plus 10. 350 Vandy plus 13 first half, 370 over 57 in Arkansas, 390 Minnesota plus 9, Navy team total over 22.5, 357 Kansas plus 3 at minus 120, and 379 Missouri plus 2.5. No need to buy to 3. That's from just one particular group, so you'll know whether that betting syndicate turned a profit because these are their legit moves. Like I'm up on the food chain, I get them down enough money to they don't give me any of the middles, none of the manipulation, none of that stuff. So can't tell you that they're going to turn a profit, but this is what would be called their card for Saturday's college football.
Gianni, every Tuesday moving forward, we're going to be doing something called Trash Talk Tuesday. We bring on a handicapper and we trash talk them to death. We make fun of them and they make fun of us. What makes me so easy to make fun of is that I have a big personality and I'm eccentric. And I also enjoy being made fun of. You have a big personality and are eccentric. I would love to have you on a Tuesday so I can literally rip you to shreds for 10 minutes in a loving manner.
Please do. My ego needs it. It really needs it. It needs it. We're getting towards the end of the year. I need it, Prez. I need you to put me in check because it's just not a world that keeps us in check anymore. That's why these little kids, I saw a little kid, I swear to you, that's why I got to say this. He was like 6 years old and he was cursing at his mom. Dude, my mom would have beat me, threw me in the trunk and drove home like that. Then pulled me out of the trunk, beat me again. And then I would have told me I did something wrong. I couldn't believe it. So you got to put me in check, brother. I only have 2 more weeks of the Contender Series. It's week 9 this week, then week 10, and I'm free on Tuesdays. Bring me on and please tear me apart. Invite all the viewers too. They got to have some funny shit. They say some funny things about me. I read them just to laugh.
I love it.
My girl actually sends it to me when they're great. You got to love it,
dude.
man.
If we don't make fun of each other, we don't. I only make fun of people I love. Gianni, what do you got to promote? We'll bring Dave Mason on.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
I have a 5% play, like I said, in MMA on Saturday and a 5% on the NFL. I've won 3 straight 5% in NFL. I narrowed down another winner for Sunday. Follow, fade, ignore. I love you guys. Appreciate all your support. And thank you, Prez, for giving me your platform each and every week, bro. I love you. And Prez address, you do not want to miss it. I love listening to it in the NFL, bro. Make sure you give me a shout out so I can hear my name. All right. Love you.
You got it. Dave Mason joining us from BetOnline. And Dave, thanks for sitting there being patient. How was that segment? Anything you hear you want to jump in and talk about?
I liked it, man. I always love listening to Gianni, man. He's a Philly guy, so but man, I always love his MMA stuff. So no, I mean I agree with him. I heard his Cowboys take, and I agree with him there. So I'm aligned with Gianni, which is a good feeling. So yeah.
So, Dave, let's start with Wong teasers. We talk about these on the show all the time. As Gianni's already pointed out, they're up profit this year. If you bet them blind every week, you have something like, I can't remember, it was around a 20% edge. It's pretty hefty. How do you guys avoid getting slaughtered on Wong teasers?
Well, I mean, the Wong teasers. I mean, most people are teasing down, right? Those have been great. Those have been great for us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing with the Wong teasers. I mean, I get Gianni's teasing up. You know what I mean? Sharper guys are teasing up, but the public's is teasing down, and those have been wonderful for the house. But the industry has changed with those over the years, and you got to pay a little extra juice on them when you're teasing down through the key numbers. So that's how the industry and BetOnline has dealt with them over, I don't know how long it's been, 10 years maybe. So that's how the industry's changed, but still,
and I do know. Go ahead.
No, but you have to just keep in mind that, shoot, whenever you see those numbers, I mean, the ones we're looking at are those 6.5, 6 points, 7 points. People are teasing those down as opposed to, the 1, 2s up.
Yeah, and those are annihilating people this year. I did notice in the past, we weren't seeing a lot of 7.5, so to speak. We got San Fran at 7.5 against Arizona. A year ago or 2 years ago, it would have been 9.5. And that was sort of where they were trying to make that adjustment. But I think that is gone, and instead they've upped the juice. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you used to see books go 9. They always annoyed the hell out of me. I mean, we did it in the past too. We go 9.5 and real crazy juice, like minus 130 or something. And
right,
a bunch of books that we used to do that. And I actually remember having a discussion. A couple of the odds guys is like, my preference. And again, I work in marketing, so who the hell am I? But, I work closely with those guys, and I do have somewhat of a pulse. But I always kind of suggest try to get it close as flat as possible. Now, it doesn't always happen, but yeah, it's always an interesting thing. I mean, I tweet out the splits every year, every Sunday, and people, just, oh, well, you won because all these won. It's like, well, that's only these splits are only part of the story, and you're talking about all the teasers that there's more money on these teasers than there are the straight bets. Same with the money line parlays too. I mean, the parlays and teasers there's just so much more money on that than just the straight bets.
Dave Mason joining us from BetOnline, outstanding sportsbook. Really privileged to have him take time out of his week every week to do this with us. Dave, let's talk about last week quick, and then we'll get to this week. How did you guys do in college football and the NFL last week?
College football was nothing special. NFL was good again. NFL's been, college football's been a little choppy, nothing great this year, but NFL has been really, really good. No complaints on NFL at all. So NFL's been strong. College football has been up and down. So that was the same thing this past weekend.
Yeah, and that's what we're hearing. The general public sort of making a little bit of money on Saturdays and then giving it all back on Sundays. But that's going to change, general public. It does not continue like that forever. The books are going to have terrible Sundays. Yep. No disrespect, but let's hope it's the Sunday.
We're overdue. You're right. I mean, this isn't sustainable on our end. It's just, we're going to get it stuck up. You know what? Soon. I know it.
Absolutely. Dave, we've got baseball playoffs in full swing. Tomorrow's a big slate of games. Any big bets that we should know about? Any actionable info we could get for baseball?
Let me see here. Nothing too sharp as of yet. Well, I'm lying. Padres plus 122 sharp. Not a lot of sharp stuff yet. Over in that game looks a little bit. No, that's a lie. A little bit. It was over 7.5 minus 110. It's now minus 115, but not a lot of sharp stuff yet. Let me see some series odd stuff. See if Phillies minus 180 got hit, minus 190 got hit. They're now minus 195. I'll be rooting for them as a Philly guy since the Eagles don't look that have issues. Padres series price plus 120. They're now plus 117. So that's what we're looking at so far. But by tomorrow, I mean the sharp will be a lot more sharp stuff.
So what are we seeing for college football? We got a game tonight, and we got a whole slate of games tomorrow. Any bets we should be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, shoot. I mean, sharps are all over that. That's the college football we were talking about a couple of minutes ago, how, the college football is so much of a grind, especially early in the season. And I mean, as the season goes on, we get more data on these teams. There's just so many darn teams and so many darn games. It's just so hard to keep it on top of. But some sharp stuff: Michigan State plus 24, UNC plus 3, Gators plus 2.5. SMU plus 7.5, Auburn plus 23, Tulane minus 16.5 or fewer, Georgia Tech minus 7, UMass plus 17, Air Force plus 10, Cuse plus 7. Some that are getting bet by the public. Pitt, their public play, 66% of the bettors are on Pitt. Clemson, their huge bet count, 78% of the bettors are on Clemson, and that's a lot of bets too. Laying 14.5 at FSU. Navy, 81% of the bettors are on Navy. Indiana's getting bet again. The bettors love Indiana every weekend. 79% of the bettors are on Indiana at Northwestern, and then Tennessee, 7% of the early bettors are on Tennessee, laying 13.5 at Arkansas.
There we go. Some college football for you guys. NFL big slate on Sunday. Lots of sexy games. Buffalo, Houston, Pittsburgh, Dallas. And we end on Monday with Kansas City and New Orleans. Let us know. What do we do with this slate of NFL games?
Yeah, I mean, it's a definitely good schedule. Early volume is indicative of that. Some sharp stuff. We got Denver minus 2, Jags minus 2.5, Buffalo plus 1. I don't really agree with that personally, but who am I? Rams plus 3.5, Chicago minus 3.5. For our bet count, some lopsided stuff out there. Vikings are getting, public absolutely loves the Vikings. 81% of the bettors on the Vikings. In England on Sunday morning, set your alarm clocks. It catches me usually once a year. 68% on Buffalo, Houston, 64% Commanders. They're getting a lot of love. It's always interesting to see some of these teams that are like, everybody thought they're dead beginning of the year, and a month in, like, oh, they're a sexy new team. So bettors are piling on that bandwagon. 64% early bettors on the Commanders versus Cleveland. 67% of the bettors on Seattle versus the Giants. That will be a huge teaser game. And 66% on New Orleans, getting 5.5 at KC.
Dave, I'll explain this Cleveland-Washington game. I can explain it to you in a couple of quick sentences.
Tell me.
Cleveland came into the season really excited. Super Bowl or bust type season. They were pumped. Washington came into the season with zero expectations. So here's what happened. Cleveland booked themselves a whole lot of massages. No happy ending. Washington, they called for massages. It was full. Then they got a cancellation, went in, lots of happy endings. That pretty much sums up that game. What do you got to promote?
Yeah, no, first of all, I love that breakdown. Massages are a necessity in life. Love them. Love the big foot massage, to tell you the truth. Anyways, betonline.ag.
Oh, yeah,
going
dude.
over here. Foot massage?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Where are we going with this? MLB dime lines, man. Dime lines are becoming extinct elsewhere, but we still have them. So with the playoffs and NHL tomorrow, today actually, we have reduced juice NHL as well. So, get that reduced juice baseball and NHL. Second chance survivor pool. 96% of them got entries got nuked in the big one. So we have a second chance. We're already up to $180,000 prize money. Get on over to betonline.ag and sign up for that second chance survivor poll. It's only $30 to enter. Enter numerous times for a discount.
Wonderful stuff. Dave, I can't thank you enough for joining us every Friday, guys. You'll hear Dave Mason from BetOnline. Okay, Dan, it's time for the daily presidential address. Welcome, everybody, to the daily presidential address. I'm Lawrence Presman, and I've got your teaser of the week for you guys. Now, just to let you know, I will be teasing San Francisco down as my first leg of the teaser. And although that has been a terrible proposition so far this year, teasing 7.5s down, well, everything comes back to the mean. And I would rather jump in on a trend that has been failing than jump in on some perfect trend that has been winning over and over again, because all of these trends find their way back to the middle. I think we look at this San Francisco team, and sure, man, they're injured. Fred Warner, a Kittle, Debo, a CMC, they're injured. Arizona is not nearly the team that we thought they might be after their first two games. This is a team that is struggling offensively to find any type of rhythm. And although Kyler Murray can run the ball, he is no lights out passing quarterback right now. Arizona, I think, is overvalued here based on their performance at the beginning of the season. This San Fran team has beat Arizona 4 games in a row. So that crosses the entire Brock Purdy era. And although I do think Arizona is improved, one thing we've seen about the San Fran team is that every year they lose 2-3 games in a row and then they put a monster rundown. Well, they already lost 2 games in a row this year, and they came back last week with a great win against New England. I think we see San Fran win this game easily. Frankly, I have no issue if you want to take the -7, but San Francisco is the first leg of my teaser of the week. Before I give you my second leg, buy my month of NFL plays, guys. A full month. It's only $99. The promo code is NFL99. That's NFL99. You will get analysis on every single game on the board, plus my client bets and my circa bets. It is worth it, and I'm going to have an incredible October. The second leg of my parlay is the Dallas Cowboys, plus 2.5. Let's take them up over 7.5. And there's a bunch of reasons why. Firstly, I would not be surprised if Dallas wins this game outright. I think ultimately this game is going to come down to the pace of play. If Pittsburgh controls the pace of play, they win this game, but it will be a very low-scoring game, which really helps the Dallas leg of this teaser. If Dallas wins this game, well, we won the teaser. So if it's a fast-paced football game with a lot of scoring, Dallas is going to crush Pittsburgh. If it's a slow-paced football game with a lot of running, Pittsburgh is going to win by 3 points at best. So way I like Dallas in this teaser. So that's my teaser of the week. Take San Fran down and Dallas up. Thanks for watching today's Wager Talk Today show. We'll see you all on Monday. Let's kick some serious ass this weekend.